Niaga AWANI right now will be focusing on technology and digital segment, especially on the company called Tapway Sedang Berhad, which is a Malaysian tech firm is trying to democratize vision AI technology by anyone to build, train and deploy vision technology solution quickly and affordably. And for that further ado, I'm going to welcome the Tapway Chief Executive Officer itself, Mr. Lim Chi Ha. I want to say thank you very much for joining me in the studio. Firstly, we want to talk about the Tapway aims to democratize vision AI by making it accessible without having the coding. However, democratizations often comes with challenges and difficulties, oversimplifications or underutilizations by users unfamiliar with the technology's full potentials. And how is, we can say, a samurai AI, ensuring that businesses can truly unlock the power of AI?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me here. So vision AI has always been really tough technology to implement, especially for small businesses. And the problem is always that you need certain expertise. And as you all know, AI expertise is not easy to obtain these days. Moreover, they are expensive, right? So it is out of reach for typical companies in Malaysia and around the region specifically. So what we are doing is really by making it easy and accessible, right? It is basically a platform where you can sign up and you can build a model all by yourself without prior AI knowledge, without coding knowledge. But of course, we don't expect people to just go and sign up and immediately they know how to use it, right? So you still need a bit of domain knowledge, right? So how we do that is by doing it through training course. So we have a HRDC claimable training course to enable organizations who would like to embark on this vision AI journey to basically learn about how it works, the advanced functionalities, and then they can then bring it back to their organization and start doing it by themselves. Yeah.
All right, that's a little bit of what Tapway's roles within the AI ecosystem as a whole. Despite being around 2014, Vision AI still face a very slow adoption rate. And what has been the biggest psychological or even organizational barriers you've noticed among companies when adopting Vision AI? And how are these companies addressing these intangible challenges beyond the cost and even technical expertise?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the problem with a lot of organizations is typically being in a comfort zone. I think that's number one, right? So what they've been doing has been working for a very long time. Of course, I think the story has been a bit different after COVID, right?
Yes, correct.
So now I think the awareness, like, hey, we need to adopt technology to help simplify operations, to automate operations, to reduce manual labor, things like that, right? So that's driving the adoption. But yeah, fear of change, it's one big psychological factor for many organizations out there, and also being in a comfort zone. What they have done are working, so why change that, right? Yeah, but that story is slowly fading away. So we are seeing, I think, especially for the past 2 years, a lot more awareness and adoption, and at least there's a lot of demand, right? Whether there's budget for it, that's another question, but at least there's a lot of demand. People are curious to know, hey, how can we leverage CCTVs in my building to automate certain, let's say, operational monitoring, safety compliance, things like that, that they would require a safety officer to do, right? How can they do more than that, or to capture events that are otherwise missed by humans? Yeah, so I think those barriers are slowly breaking down, and hopefully we can see more of that in the future.
Correct, and the first step of obtaining or addressing obstacle challenges and identify what is the best solution is awareness, as you mentioned.
Yes.
And large clients like Pasca Berhad and even Samdabi have the resources to leverage Vision AI effectively. How does Tapway platform ensure this capability and affordability for smaller businesses like SMEs, MSMEs that may have limited budget or expertise to adopt AI?
Yeah, so that is something that is on our mind all the time, because on our journey, our vision to really democratize Vision AI, we need to seek to drive down costs. We need to seek to drive down or simplify the entire process to deploy the solution, right, it has been traditionally very difficult to do. So what we do to break down these barriers, number one, we have a POC program. So POC stands for proof of concept, right? So before you want to adopt it, they want to see the benefits, right? The tangible benefits. And they don't want to invest like 100,000 just to see the benefits. They want to invest just a small amount. So we have a POC program where they can start at a very low cost for maybe one simple use case. They have many use cases here. Hey, we have a lot of problems. I want you to tackle maybe the top 1 or 2 problems. So we start with that and we run a small project for them in maybe as long as just 1 week to 1 month so that they can see the benefits. Once they see the benefits, then they can then expand it further by adopting across the organization. Right. So yeah, that's POC program is one part. The second part is of course pricing, right? Because if you want to engage in the past for AI, you need to engage a consultant. So you're talking about the big 4, they will charge a couple of thousand per man day, you know. So it is out of reach, right? So by having it no code, now you're passing the implementation back to your own team. So you can hire someone that is not technically very skilled, but they just need to learn certain basics of how to do it through our platform, right? So then, the cost will be much lower, and they can take it in their own hands. It's also the timeline is on their hand as well. They don't have to rely on consultant. Hey, we are too busy tackling the bigger clients. We have no time for you. So for SMEs, engaging it with a consultant is always a problem. Yeah.
For the smaller business, medium business, is it their biggest challenge? Is it cost, expertise, or even adapting the technology AI itself? Actually, it's all of them. It's all of them. Cost is always, I think, on the back of the mind of every small, medium enterprise. Yeah, so no doubt about it, right? They will always ask, hey, can we do it cheaper? Can we do it at no cost, right? But yeah, second part is expertise, right? If they want to embark on a journey in the past, they need to hire a dedicated AI team. And a lot of them, they just don't want to do it because it's not their domain expertise anyway. Why do we want to hire an AI team to tackle or to solve problems like this? Might as well just outsource it to someone. So whenever they try to go through that route, they'll figure out the hard way that it's gonna cost a bomb, right? So now they have a different option, a brand new option. It's like how ChatGPT has revolutionized the industry, right? In the past, you probably have to get someone to train a model for you. Now it's just a couple of APIs. You can do it yourself, or you can just upload 2 documents of your company policies. Now ChatGPT knows your company policy and can answer questions for you. So it's as simple as that. That's how no code has become a movement and a trend in the technology world. ChatGPT knows better than us nowadays. And talking about, I want to include in the context of durian grading, where Sept work in durian grading, is an interesting use case. Could this model be expanded to other niche agriculture sectors in Malaysia? And how do you foresee as the potential for Vision AI in revolutionizing agriculture beyond the commodity?
Actually, agriculture is one of the key sectors that require customized AI model to be trained. It's not like you can buy a CCTV camera today and say, hey, I want to detect durian, right? So it's not as simple as that. And the same problem happens again. That's why agriculture has been a focus for us. We already went beyond durian sector right now, and we have been serving palm oil plantation industry for quite some time. So we have a couple of customers that are using our solution to help to do palm oil bunch grading. So they call that a fresh fruit bunch grading at the estate side as well as at the mill side. And then there's also other implementations at the mill side to discover or to monitor machine efficiency by understanding, again, grading bunch at the end of the mill process. So yeah, we have been doing that quite a bit. We have also seen increasing demand for mainly fruit grading. So for example, pineapple, chilies, and things like that. So yeah, it is definitely a sector that we are very focused on.
What are some of the common challenges that you have found with the industry players within adopting the technology, AI especially?
Challenges, quite a lot, right? Actually, one of the most interesting challenges that we have faced throughout the years is that sometimes they rely very heavily on humans, but the humans don't have common consensus on how to do grading, right? So they've been relying on experts, and the experts, when they say A, it's A, right? But to document it properly and to have a, I would say, objective grading system, sometimes it is not there, right? So a lot of time through our discovery with the client, it also helps them to standardize their processes. Yeah, so that's I would say the biggest challenge that we have faced so far is that when we jump on a project, they discover that they don't have enough requirements or they don't have detailed requirements, right? Okay. Then they are like, okay, now we have to go back and fix our SOP, and then we'll come back to you on how we can do a certain project to do grading because we don't have a grading standard at this moment.
Okay, that is the very important process to look at also. And with Samurai's offering a no-code platform, there's a growing shift towards automating tasks that previously require skill expertise. And how do you think this will impact the demand for AI specialists and technical roles in the future?
It's not going to replace AI specialists, definitely, because with this growing demand for AI, companies like us, we will need to hire more AI specialists. And there's another, I would say, growing branch of career choices called the AI practitioners. They may not know how to train an AI model, but they know how to use an AI model that's trained by the big boys, for example, ChatGPT again, right? So AI practitioners will be a growing field or growing demand definitely for enterprises. So enterprises can get these AI practitioners to implement certain things by just basic programming skills, really. And I would say to use Samurai platform, AI practitioners will be the best people as well. So people who have already some basic knowledge of how AI works and are able to incorporate this into their organization workflow. Yeah.
So we can see that even though the Samurai offering, it will not transform, it will not emulate the needs of specialized talent. Yep. And we can see that AI can enhance operational efficiency, but how do you envision the synergy between vision AI and human decision-making in complex industries such as logistics and transportation? And can Samurai complement rather than replace human intuition in these areas?
Yeah, good question. Actually, it's always a misconception among people that AI will replace humans. I think that's entirely not true. AI, especially our platform, Samurai platform, aims to enhance the decision-making, enhance the operation of humans, right? We always equate our platform as we are the eyes and brain for you to enhance your operation. For example, you will have a safety officer in a factory, and one safety officer only have one pair of eyes, right? And you have to scan through the entire site. You're going to miss a lot of events because you just don't have enough hands, and you don't have the budget to hire 10 safety officers anyway. But you have 50 cameras all over the place. So by having that now, you can push certain events, like warning someone is in this area, push it directly to the safety officer, and the safety officer can then go and check whether there's a problem or not, right? So now you are making their job easier. So yeah, that's the reason why, like our product. So under Samurai, we have a product called Copilot, Samurai Copilot, and the reason why we call it Copilot is to really be an assistant to humans, not to replace humans. Yeah.
Correct. If you just want to help ease the job and the tasks that were given, and given the integration vision AI within the smart cities, what does TAPWAY envision as the next frontier for AI in creating more efficient, responsive, and safer urban environment, and what we can see role will platform like Samurai plays in shaping the future of Malaysian smart cities?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have been getting increasing demand as well from the government sector, especially for city councils. I think there are a lot of issues that can be automated with AI, definitely in the urban setting, right? So, for example, traffic management, it's definitely at the forefront. Enforcement, I think that's another interesting topic to talk about, right? I'm sure you have seen double parking, illegal parking, and people who don't pay for parking. Those will require humans to do it currently, but can be complemented with AI. So that's a lot of, I would say, demand for this these days. There are also other things, for example, safety related, right? You talk about pothole that result in accidents, right? And the typical approach currently is when there's an accident and based on the report, you have a pothole on this road, someone will go and fix it. So it's too late, right? With AI, you can have, I would say, all these vehicles that are going around and scanning all the time, and you'll be able to then capture pothole, raise a ticket to the operation team, and they can fix it before accident happen. So that's just one clear case, right? There are also a lot of other scenario, for example, maybe flood detection, and unattended objects, so people or trucks that drop a box in the middle of the road and nobody is taking care of it until accidents happen. So yeah, I think enhancing safety through AI will be one of the biggest use cases for smart cities.
Correct, definitely we want to help, especially face the address of challenge, like you said, mentioned the environment and disaster within the road. And maybe my last question is, we want to see what's your future plan for Tapway for the short term and goal term to enhance the ecosystem within the Vision AI within various sectors, like we have talked about industries including transportation, manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, and even the smart cities.
Yeah, so our short-term plan is really to engage with more partners around the region. So our go-to-market strategy, we always pair with partners, and these are typically system integrator companies who are implementing for their respective industries. So what we lack being I would say a horizontal platform is vertical expertise, right? So for agriculture, we may not know how they want to do it, right? But if you work with agriculture specialist company, then we'll be able for them to integrate our solution into their offering and they can serve their customers. So we have been signing up partners in different verticals and also in different countries. So one of the biggest goals for us is to really, I would say, put Malaysia on the map for AI, at least in the region. So for Southeast Asia especially will be our goal. So we have now customers already in Singapore and Philippines. So we plan to expand further by signing up more partners in Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and other countries around the region. And also we have recently engaged on a partnership with a listed company in Japan as well. So we'll be launching in Japan in November this year, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that
few months. It's going to be very busy for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I think the demand is growing for Vision AI. We normally call it video analytics in the more, I would say, layman terms. But yeah, the demand for this has been rising just because there's plenty of CCTVs sitting around that are doing nothing, right? Waiting for human to discover, and humans don't have time to discover that. Yeah.
And again, I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Lim Chi Hao, the Tapway CEO, for sharing us the Vision AI technology from the challenges and opportunities and what's the future for Vision AI. And again, I want to say thank you very much, and I hope we can catch you on the next discussion. And for that, all of our discussion here will be featured in AstroAwani.com in all social media platforms.
Bila kerja sendiri, semua kena buat sendiri. Tapi, bersama rakan niaga, semuanya dapat ditempuhi bersama.
University Malaya UM is expected to offer a cardiothoracic specialist training course this October.
There will be no U-turn on the implementation of the Vehicle Entry Permit VEP for all foreign vehicles entering Malaysia from Singapore.
Diesel sales at petrol stations have decreased by 30% within the first week of the fuel subsidy rationalisation on June 10th.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, mereka adalah lawan yang tidak pernah malam. langkah mereka tidak pernah berhenti. Kemalapan kini menghilang emas. Ontai kembali berpisah.
Malaysia sebenarnya berada di kedudukan kedua terburuk di dunia berkaitan keseimbangan hidup dan kerja.
LRT3 sudah akan mula beroperasi suku ketiga 2025. Kerja-kerja fizikal dan penstrukturan sudah mencecah 95%.
KPM sebenarnya sedang memperincikan cadangan untuk menyediakan allowance kos sara hidup tingkatan 6.
Libat urus antara umat Islam dan agama lain penting supaya dapat mengelakkan ataupun membawa kepada Islamofobia.
Untung bersih Eco World Development Group bagi tempoh 9 bulan berakhir 31 Julai 2024 meningkat 18.3% kepada 220.1 juta ringgit berbanding 186 juta ringgit pada suku sama tahun lalu didorong prestasi lebih baik daripada anak syarikat kumpulan itu. Hasil kumpulan juga melonjak kepada 1.6 bilion ringgit berbanding 1.38 bilion ringgit pada 9 bulan pertama tahun kewangan 2023. Jualan kenderaan baru di Malaysia menyusut 2.3% pada Ogos 2024 berbanding tahun sebelumnya, kata Persatuan Automotif Malaysia MAA. MAA dalam satu kenyataan berkata, jumlah volume industri TIV mencapai 71,162 unit pada bulan lalu berbanding 72,844 unit yang dijual pada bulan yang sama tahun lepas. Logi Biopharmaceutical Pharma Niaga Berhad yang baru dilancarkan dijangka meningkatkan margin keuntungan kasarnya kepada kira-kira 30% hingga 35% bagi tahun kewangan berakhir 31 Disember 2026. Kilang yang terletak di Puchong dan dikendalikan oleh Pharma Niaga Life Sciences Berhad itu mempunyai kapasiti pengeluaran tahunan sehingga 30 juta dos insulin. Laporan penuh di saluran 501 dan Astro AWANI.com serta daganus.com.
When it comes to immersive experiences, XR, VR, however you want to describe it, before it was just simply a novel experience. Soon it became a gaming experience. But now it's one where you can discuss key global issues across the world.
The metaverse is one of the areas where technology is clearly advancing, and our goal is to make it technology that really serves people.
The Global Collaboration Village is a practical realization of the vision to use the new technologies such as the metaverse to make those collaboration processes seamless and to open them up, giving the opportunity to everyone to contribute to solutions.
We cannot, as individuals, run across the world at any given time. The metaverse allows you, by bringing the virtual and the physical worlds together, to solve more challenges than if we rely only on a call or physical meetings.
The Global Collaboration Village breaks outside of the confines of Davos, outside of the confines of this one single week that we can all get together in, and it makes this a truly global collaboration platform that can run throughout the year.
If you think about the convening power of the World Economic Forum and then underpin that with this groundbreaking technology focused on purpose, we're going to be developing at scale and at speed new solutions for world problems in new ways that are much more inclusive.
We can have the best scientists at any moment providing their ideas. We can have civil society leaders, everybody interacting.
The Global Collaboration Village was created in partnership with Microsoft and Accenture to bring voices all across the world into an immersive experience, from virtual rainforests to the polar ice caps. Immersing them in this 3D environment allows them to collaborate more and retain more information.
We're able to bring together business leaders and governmental leaders and large organizations around the world from across the entire supply chain, and allowing them to see how one disruption can impact the world and then find ways to work together.
Once our partners have experienced it, they begin to say, I can use this to really meet the challenges of my business.
We have built it with the same premise that the World Economic Forum is built, which is to bring society from governments to not-for-profits to companies together to be able to collaborate.
There's a lot of benefit in joining the Global Collaboration Village. It will enable you to stay connected with everything that the World Economic Forum is doing 52 weeks a year and use the technology to pursue all of the goals that really are at the heart of the World Economic Forum's mission.
Baik, ini berita yang baru kami terima di mana bekas Timbalan Menteri Komunikasi dan Multimedia Dato' Edin Shazli Sheikh meninggal dunia pada 7.10 pagi tadi di rumahnya di Bukit Cedang. Berita itu dimaklumkan oleh Pengerusi PN Negeri Sembilan Muhammad Hanifah Abu Bakar. Bekas ahli Parlimen Kuala Pilah itu meninggal dunia pada usia 50 tahun. Edin difahamkan sebelum ini mempunyai rekod sakit jantung. Sidang Dewan Rakyat pada 2019 pernah ditangguhkan seketika selepas Allahyarham tiba-tiba pingsan ketika mendengar sesi soal jawab. Berita lanjut akan kami bawakan dalam buletin seterusnya. Alright, we're going to move on into the next segment where the Selangor Smart City and Digital Economy Convention SDEC will open its curtain from 16 until 19 October 2024, and the event will gather industry leaders, startups and SMEs and players from the public and private sectors to delve into the mechanisms of existing and future smart city and digital economy frameworks and also solutions. The 9th SDEC is looking forward to attracting more visitors as the convention hosts more exciting exhibition booths, 3 major conferences with 13 interesting topics and 65 experienced speakers revolving around the discussion on ESG, startups, pitching and investors summit, as well as SME digitalization. So to discuss further on this, we have Yong Kai Ping, the CEO or Chief Executive Officer of SDEC. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. Perhaps we could start with sharing what can you tell about this SDEC 2024 and how is it different with the previous ones?
This is a 3-in-1 major tech conference of the year. We focus on the semiconductor innovation, which is the hottest topic in the town now, and also generative AI innovation, very interesting topic, as well as the phenomenon of the current moment, TikTok Shop, SME digitalization. Since the inception, SDEC has been aggressively working together in terms of digital economy, working with our partners such as Afinbank, TikTok Shop, Shopline, Post Malaysian Paymate, to strengthen the not only e-commerce, startup. Then now we are working on the important role of launching the Malaysia Semiconductor IC Design Park. Working with international companies such as MyStorage, Skychip, Chip Banks and VROX to establish the largest IC design park in Southeast Asia. So we will bring in together all the top speakers who are also veteran in this field, so to provide us with a lot of landmark and also interesting technology advantage exploration that they have been able to launch for the past few years.
And I understand that this time around, the 9th edition of SDEC 2024, it is more focused on AI and also semiconductor of innovation. So what are the key highlights that you can tell us, and how does it contribute to Malaysia's ecosystem of digital transformation right now?
I think for the semiconductor innovation, we focus on the potential of Malaysia IC design companies, which many has not been able to know that we have actually a lot of very advanced participation in terms of AI chips and the rest. And also we have a very strong international and local partners collaborating. For example, HCL Tech from India, which is one of the largest IC and design companies in the world. Also talking about how they blend AI and semiconductor together. And also there will be EDA tools and IP in AI-driven design. And we also want to talk about strengthening the Southeast Asia supply chain for semiconductor. While the AI, we are looking interestingly, we have speakers from Silicon Valley and also from India who are talking about the global AI talent competition. And also in terms of, we are looking at AI in specific domain, for example, how AI help the SME, AI in healthcare, AI in transport. And also we will have a special guest from China who will be showcasing their robotic humanoid in Malaysia. I think it will be the first time in Malaysia we have this showcase. I think they are on par with the Boston Robotic in US.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier the interesting about the collaboration with TikTok Shop and also TikTok SME Digitalization Summit for the day 3 of the event. Can you elaborate more on this collaboration between SDEC and also TikTok Shop?
Yeah. For the TikTok Shop event, we knew that TikTok has taken a storm over our e-commerce and also B2C environment. So we're focusing on, we have of course our VVIP, YB Tuan Gobind Singh, Selangor MB, Dato' Amiruddin officiating. But we will have a lot of KOL. And also the chief MCM, what we call it, multi-channel networks companies who are the force behind the TikTok Shop phenomenon, sharing with us how to drive the business from zero to, sold out, to be very successful, and also to be successful as a KOL itself, driven how the SMEs products can be successful overnight. For example, selling more than 1 million in a few minutes and stuff like that.
And besides giving opportunities for SMEs through this collaboration with TikTok Shop, we also have, SDEC also provides a platform that's called Selangor Accelerator Program, or SAP. Yeah. So how does this platform actually helps to all the startups in Malaysia, and what does this platform do?
I think we have the largest twin accelerator in Malaysia. So 50 teams are in the B2C or e-commerce section. We call it e-commerce accelerator. The other one is pure tech, hard tech, high tech, deep tech. In terms of the Selangor Accelerator Program, SAP. So we will have this pitching event going on. So they were able to not only pitch to our judges, international judges, but we will also be having an exposure networking that's most important, meeting a lot of the mentor and also working on workshop. And they will be exposed to investment opportunity and international expansion. Because this year, what we're going to do is, instead of usually all the winners will take them to overseas trip now, we will start to expand to long stay. This is a new trend, global new trend. We will assist the startup actually to land, for example, Tokyo, Shibuya for a month, maybe in Beijing for a month, Hong Kong for a month, or Taipei for a month, to immerse into the local environment situation. And our local partners will bring them around to meet with the potential investor, collaborators and stuff like that.
That's a good opportunities for all the startups and also SMEs. But can you actually share also who will be the exhibiting at SDEC, SDEC 2024, and what can attendees look forward to in terms of innovation and so interactive experiences?
Yeah, I think you're going to meet all the main topics, main exhibitor of the talk of the town in terms of the tech environment. For example, TikTok Shop, and then we also have Shenzhen Semiconductor Association. We also have a list of major tech provider, global giants, for example, AWS, Zoho, Maxis, Playmat, Shopline is exhibiting. And of course, our partners, Cyberview as well, because we want to promote Cyberjaya as well, one of the main tech center in Malaysia as well. And there will be a lot of demos, networking opportunity, as well as panel discussion and workshops. I think it will be a very fruitful 4 days event. So we can cover all the major topics from semiconductor, AI, and also B2C TikTok Shop, as well as coming to watch the pitching of the startup.
So during that 4 days, do you actually cater to different, let's say, first day is for SMEs, second day is for startups? You can actually explain
I think
on different days?
Yes, they will be mixing of deep tech and also the consumer tech. So first day for semiconductor, I think that is more on deep tech. But I think it's also a good environment because we also wanted to recruit a lot of students because we are, for the Malaysia IC Design Park now, we have opened the Park 1 at Puchong, PFCC. Now we are recruiting, we need 400 to 600 IC design engineers, which offer the high pay of 5,000 to 6,000 ringgit for freshie. We believe it's highest in Malaysia. 7,000 for masters. So we are looking for that. So, and then for the AI innovation, everybody can join SME and everybody. And TikTok Shop is of course, the summit is of course for the SME. And then of course tech pitching, the SAP pitching on the 4th day. Then will be for the startup community. But I think what we want to encourage everybody to join in from tech community, from SME, to listen to all this sector which is going to be related, because for example, semiconductor is going to power the AI, while AI is going to be used in the daily life business of the SME, and also including the academics and also students.
Yes. Yeah. And how many participants do you anticipate to join this SDEC 2024? What about the booths as well? What about the participation and speakers as well?
Yeah, I think we will have around 60 speakers. This is the 3-in-1 event. You cover everything, and then we have more than 200 booths in KLCC for the 4th day from October 16 to 19. And also we will provide all the assistance, for example, transport and everybody from nearer LRT station towards the event. And of course, there will be a lot of opportunity but I think our key focus is high growth, high pay sectors, then a lot of international participation and with the local exhibitor as well.
And besides that, SDEC 2024 aims to actually foster collaboration with not just the local, but also the international companies in advancing the digital transformation, or also give solutions in semiconductor technologies and AI as well. So how do you actually, through this platform, through this event, SDEC 2024, actually foster between these two local international companies?
I think the important thing is the exhibition, the forum. We will provide opportunity for them to network collaboration. And also, I think a lot of the panel discussion were insightful. So there will be government, with the tech community, with the private sectors all in together with our international speakers who were brought in the perspective from, for example, Silicon Valley, from India, from China, about how tech has evolved. It's going to evolve. The future-proof techs is going to be evolved for the next 10 years. So I think that is very crucial. And because I think our economy is on the trajectory, on the rise with the semiconductor, because we are number 6 in the world, and also how AI application is going to be enhanced in our daily life, from conversation to assistant, co-pilot to AI agent as well. So these are the topics that we will be covering beside the usual event itself. But I'm looking forward to the quality of discussion and also the insightful direction which our speakers who are the veteran in the industry will be able to provide, so that our exhibitor, our SME, our students, our academician and all will be able to grasp what's the changes of the coming next 5 to 10 years. But I think the important thing is we're also going to launch the Malaysia Advanced Semiconductor and also AI Academy, which will be one of the pinnacle of the whole Malaysia Semiconductor IC Park project as well.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But before we end the discussion, we have one more question, which is what's your hope or perhaps aspirations moving forward on the future trends and also challenges of digital economy that will be addressed in SDEC 2024, as well as how can business prepare for that trend in the future?
Yeah, I think as our country is embarked on a few important projects that we will increase our participation in the high growth, high pay industry, for example, semiconductor, AI. I think that it's important that through this conference, we want to connect the top leaders, the veterans from the industry with the layman. And also, for example, SME, the public as well, and also the future, which is the students and academicians. Because I think the global semiconductor AI warfare, if I would say, that is basically talent warfare. So how do we get as many talent as possible into the industry? So we have the companies now, there's a lot of VC fund. Now we need to encourage as much as talent into the industry so that then it will fit into our, for example, national semiconductor strategy, it will fit into our AI strategy. And also, of course, with this, both of this, then it will be useful in terms of or adding advantage to our SME digitalization as well.
Thank you so much. I would like to say thank you to the CEO of SDEC, Mr. Yong Kai Ping, on helping understand on the event of SDEC 2024 this year, the 9th edition of this SDEC 2024, how we can empower digital transformation through AI, semiconductor and also SMEs. So this whole discussion can be found on all of our digital platform and astroawani.com, dan kita akan teruskan dengan perkembangan ringkas dagang.
Perdagangan Malaysia meningkat 18.6% pada Ogos 2024 kepada 252.65 bilion ringgit berbanding 213 bilion ringgit setahun sebelumnya. Kementerian Pelaburan, Perdagangan dan Industri MITI berkata, angka itu merupakan kadar terpantas dalam tempoh 22 bulan dengan ekspor mengekalkan momentum pertumbuhan bagi 5 bulan berturut-turut, naik 12.1% kepada 129.16 bilion ringgit. Maybank Investment Bank, Maybank IB menjangkakan harga tiket kapal terbang akan meningkat susulan keputusan Malaysia Airlines mengurangkan kapasiti tempat duduk secara sementara. Firma pendidikan itu berkata, keseluruhannya kos operasi syarikat penerbangan kini lebih rendah berikutan pengukuhan nilai ringgit berbanding dolar Amerika Syarikat di samping harga bahan api jet yang lebih murah. Kemenangan kontrak baharu Pekat Group Berhad bagi membina dan mentauliahkan loji solar fotovoltaik 29.99 megawatt AC di Perak melonjakkan jumlah buku pesanan kumpulan tertunggak kumpulan itu kepada 322 juta ringgit bersamaan 1.5 kali hasil tahun kewangan 2023. Apex Securities menjangkakan kira-kira 1/3 daripada nilai projek akan diiktiraf pada tahun kewangan 2024 dengan pengiktirafan tertinggi berlaku pada tahun kewangan 2025 apabila kerja mencapai kemuncaknya. Laporan penuh di saluran 501 dan astroawani.com serta theganus.com. Baik, seterusnya, result Persekutuan Amerika Syarikat memotong kadar faedahnya sebanyak 50 mata asas, jauh lebih besar daripada jangkaan awal. Ia turut umum akan ada 3 lagi pemotongan seterusnya sehingga ke 2026. Dan kita nak tahu apakah impaknya kepada ekonomi dunia termasuk Malaysia dan adakah pasaran sudah mengambil kira faktor ini pada peringkat lebih awal. Jadi kita bersama dengan Imran Yassin Mat Yusof bersama dengan kami pada ketika ini, Ketua MIDF Research. Baik, mungkin pertama sekali Imran, pihak US Fed telah bertindak untuk memotong kadar pinjaman Amerika sebanyak 50 mata asas semalam waktu Malaysia. Jadi mungkin Imran boleh kongsikan apakah pandangan Imran mengenai perkara ini dan adakah ia satu keputusan yang mengejutkan sebenarnya?
Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi Nabilah. Kalau di soal saya, soalan ini ditanya pada saya 2 minggu lepas tentang kadar pemotongan oleh US Fed baru-baru ini, mungkin kami akan katakan ia kadar yang mengejutkan. Kerana jangkaan kami dan pasaran sebelum minggu lepas adalah pemotongan 25 mata asas. Tetapi minggu lepas kami telah saksikan pasaran telah mula menukar jangkaan mereka kepada pemotongan 50 mata asas. Dan isyarat daripada pasaran bond juga menunjukkan kepada pemotongan 50 mata asas. Jadi kami sedikit sebanyak menjangkakan ada kemungkinan pemotongan ke arah itu. Pada pendapat kami, pemotongan 50 mata asas ini adalah berasaskan inflasi di Amerika Syarikat yang mula perlahan. Pengurusi US Fed menyatakan inflasi PCE bulan Ogos pada kadar 2.2%. Ini kurang daripada 2.6% pada bulan Julai dan bergerak ke arah 2% sasaran US Fed. Dan lagi satu adalah kelemahan pasaran buruh Amerika Syarikat baru-baru ini. Jadi perlu ada pemotongan untuk terus memberi sokongan. Jadi kalau dilihat daripada segi inflasi, ia bergerak dengan lebih perlahan. Jadi memberi ruang kepada US Fed untuk memotong dengan lebih banyak.
Kita nak tahu juga implikasi pemotongan kadar faedah US Fed ini terhadap pasaran saham Malaysia dan bagaimanakah ia boleh memberi impak kepada prestasi ringgit bergerak ke hadapan dan adakah kita boleh jangkakan kemelesetan ekonomi juga, Imran?
Pemotongan kadar di Amerika Syarikat sepatutnya positif untuk pasaran ekuiti global, terutamanya pasaran baru muncul atau emerging market seperti kita lah. Secara empirikal, selagi prestasi ekonomi asas kekal menggalakkan, berakhirnya tempoh kenaikan kadar US Fed yang agresif telah meningkatkan pasaran ekuiti lah. Ini disebabkan tekanan yang berkurangan ke atas pulangan yang diperlukan oleh ekuiti, dan contohnya jika kita lihat pada bulan Julai 2006, selepas tempoh kenaikan kadar yang agresif daripada pertengahan 2004 hingga pertengahan 2006, kita lihat bagaimana pasaran saham US dan Malaysia melonjak pada ketika itu. Begitu juga dengan pasaran mata wang. Kami menjangkakan bahawa US dollar akan terus lemah dengan permulaan kitaran pelonggaran kadar di Amerika Syarikat. Jadi kalau dijangkakan akan ada pemotongan pada bulan November, Disember dan lanjutnya tahun hadapan dan pada 2026. Jadi daripada situ ini akan melemahkan US dollar dan mengukuhkan mata wang lain termasuk ringgit. Jadi kami menjangkakan ringgit akan terus kukuh dengan disebabkan oleh pemotongan kadar US Fed inilah. Tetapi daripada segi persoalan mengenai kemungkinan recession di US, buat masa kini data-data tidak menunjukkan yang bahawa US akan pergi kepada recession, kemelesetan ekonomi, walaupun ada isyarat-isyarat awal, tetapi data buat masa kini belum menunjukkan ke arah itu. Jadi untuk buat masa kini, apa yang kita kenal base case kita, kita menjangkakan US ekonomi akan apa boleh dikatakan soft landing lah, walaupun bertumbuh lebih perlahan daripada tahun ini, tapi masih lagi bertumbuh sekitar dalam 1.9% lah untuk tahun hadapan.
Kita tak tahu juga berkenaan dengan pemotongan kadar faedah ini, bagaimana ia boleh mempengaruhi aliran keluar dan juga atau aliran masuk modal ke pasaran serantau seperti Malaysia, terutamanya memandangkan keadaan ekonomi global, dan kita nak tahu juga sektor atau industri manakah yang berkemungkinan paling mendapat manfaat daripada pemotongan ini.
Jadi kami menjangkakan bahawa prospek ringgit yang lebih kukuh berbanding dengan dolar Amerika akan menarik kembali aliran masuk dana asing. Kita telah lihat bagaimana tahun ini menunjukkan trend itulah, di mana ada jangkaan akan ada pemotongan aliran masuk dana asing telah bermula. Ini merupakan sokongan yang penting untuk pasaran ekuiti tempatan lah. Namun begitu, kami percaya bahawa pemotongan kadar Amerika Syarikat tidak akan memihak kepada mana-mana sektor lah secara langsung jika kita hubung kait dengan aliran dana asing lah. Kerana ini akan dipengaruhi oleh faktor-faktor lain seperti prospek sektor tersebut atau penilaian khusus sektor tersebut. Tetapi apa yang kita boleh jangkakan akan ada penerusan aliran masuk daripada dana asing. Daripada segi secara tidak langsung, kita boleh lihat beberapa sektor akan mendapat manfaat lah. Ini adalah sektor-sektor di mana ia berkait rapat dengan import dan ekspor. Dengan adanya pemotongan kadar di Amerika Syarikat, ini akan melemahkan US dollar seperti saya cakap tadi. Jadi syarikat yang mempunyai komponen import pada struktur kos mereka atau kos yang berkait rapat dengan dolar Amerika akan benefit daripada trend ini, seperti sektor pengguna dan mungkin sektor penerbangan seumpamanya.
Kalau kita ikutkan pengumuman The Fed semalam, beliau mengatakan ada 3 lagi pemotongan seterusnya sehingga ke tahun 2026. Jadi mungkin boleh Imran beri sedikit jangkaan berapakah mata asas untuk ataupun jangkaan lah untuk pemotongan seterusnya, dan bagaimana kita boleh lihat keputusan ini berbanding dengan kadar OPR. Adakah ia akan mempengaruhi kadar OPR pada masa akan datang?
Kalau kita lihat daripada segi kenyataan atau mesyuarat FOMC itu, dia ada buat dot plot lah, di mana setiap ahli mesyuarat menjangkakan mereka. So daripada dot plot tu kita boleh menjangkakan bahawa mungkin ada 50 mata asas lagi. Jadi mungkin 25 pada bulan pemotongan 25 mata asas pada bulan November dan 25 pada bulan Disember. Kemudian mungkin ada sekitar 100 mata asas lagi pada tahun hadapan dan mungkin antara 25 mata asas ke 50 mata asas pada tahun 2026. Jadi persoalannya selalunya bagaimanakah kadar OPR berkait rapat dengan pemotongan Fed ini, adakah OPR akan dipotong dan sebagainya. Tapi daripada segi OPR, kami berpendapat Bank Negara akan melihat lebih kepada situasi domestik lah. Dia tidak akan potong secara automatik. Situasi domestik yang penting adalah inflasi dan pasaran buruh. Inflasi dan pasaran buruh domestik dilihat terkawal dan kukuh. Jadi mungkin dengan tidak perlu ada pergerakan OPR lah. Jadi pasaran buruh dan inflasi masih lagi terkawal walaupun OPR pada 3%. Jadi kita berpendapat kadar pinjaman di US mungkin tidak mempengaruhi langsung kadar OPR. Kami menjangkakan OPR 3% untuk tahun ini dan untuk tahun hadapan.
Mungkin yang ke soalan terakhir Imran, berbakikan 1 minit mungkin secara ringkas apa yang boleh Imran rangkumkan berkenaan dengan situasi ataupun sentimen pasaran dalam minggu ini? Boleh dikatakan sentimen yang begitu positif memandangkan ada pemotongan kadar pinjaman di US. Jadi kita boleh lihat bagaimana IBM KLCI pada minggu ini adalah akan ditutup lebih baik. Sekarang ni pun masih ada nampak gains pada IBM KLCI. Kita juga lihat bagaimana sentimen ini juga berpaksikan kepada sentimen apa yang berlaku di US lah. Kita boleh juga lihat di mana pasaran saham di US begitu positif kepada pemotongan kadar Fed Fund Rate ini. Kita juga boleh lihat bagaimana ringgit sekarang sudah melepasi paras 4.2. Ini adalah paras yang kami jangkakan pada awal tahun ini. So sudah melepasi paras 4.19. Kita boleh menjangkakan pasaran mata wang juga akan begitu positif berbandingkan dengan US dollar lah. Baik, terima kasih diucapkan kepada Imran Yassin Mat Yusof, Ketua MDF Research atas perkongsian itu tadi dan kita akan teruskan dengan perkembangan seterusnya. Sekarang kita nak dapatkan perkembangan terkini situasi banjir di Kedah. Jadi kita terus saja bersama dengan wartawan kami di sana, Hasimi Muhammad. Apa yang boleh dikongsikan? Silakan.
Baik, terima kasih Nabilah di Bukit Jalil. Kita masih lagi membawakan perkembangan situasi banjir di Kedah yang mana setakat ini masih lagi 7 daerah terjejas. Namun untuk jam ini saya cuba mendapatkan situasi khususnya di Bandar Alustar. Ini kan kita difahamkan semalam juga air masih lagi naik dan hari ini kita menjangkakan kerana ada hujan pada pagi tadi kemungkinan akan ada kenaikan air di beberapa lokasi. Tetapi tinjauan kita setakat pagi ini lokasi-lokasi yang dinaiki air semalam termasuk juga di lorong Kampung Pisang di keberadaan saya ketika ini air sudah surut. Tetapi kita difahamkan kawasan-kawasan perumahan tertentu termasuk di Taman Laman Kuda difahamkan berlaku kenaikan air lagi ketika ini. Kita akan cuba mendapatkan, tapi dari sudut pengoperasian syarikat perniagaan dan juga bisnes-bisnes kecil kalau di kawasan sekitar Bandar Alustar ini masih lagi beroperasi seperti biasa, tidak terjejas teruk dan masih lagi terkawal. Kita sempat juga berborak dengan beberapa peniaga-peniaga kecil di sini melihat kepada sudut pengoperasian mereka masih berjalan lancar dan terkawal walaupun ada kenaikan air dalam keadaan selepas hujan. Contohnya kalau waktu petang akan naik air sebentar, tetapi operasi perniagaan mereka di Bandar Alustar ini masih beroperasi seperti biasa. Tetapi kalau kita melihat kepada Jabatan Meteorologi Malaysia, Malaysia hari ini juga Nabilah meramalkan untuk beberapa kawasan di daerah Kedah ini akan berlaku hujan di beberapa tempat dari pagi hingga malam. seperti mana saya maklumkan pada awal tadi, untuk pagi tadi 7 pagi kita melihat hujan turun di kawasan Bandar Alustar ini, tapi keadaannya masih lagi terkawal. Tapi kalau kita melihat kepada rekod statistik yang dimaklumkan di info bencana JKM, mangsa yang dipindahkan ke PPS meningkat kepada 6,100 orang setakat 8.40 pagi tadi, melibatkan 37 PPS yang mana jumlah tersebut membabitkan 1,945 keluarga, yang mana Kota Star masih lagi menunjukkan mangsa yang berpindah ke PPS angka tertinggi, iaitu lebih 2,400 orang melibatkan 822 keluarga, yang mana untuk Kota Star 11 PPS dibuka, dan ia diikuti dengan daerah Kubang Pasu yang merekodkan 1,537 mangsa membabitkan 498 keluarga, di mana 10 PPS dibuka di daerah berkenaan, dan difahamkan 3 lagi PPS telah pun dibuka hari ini juga, yang mana daerah lain yang turut terjejas merekodkan angka mencecah 1,000 adalah di Pokok Sena dengan 931 mangsa, babitkan 286 keluarga, dan seterusnya Pendang lebih 800 mangsa. Tetapi kita juga akan melihat di beberapa lokasi lain yang semalam saya sempat singgah di Kampung Alumadi, kerana kawasan tersebut masih lagi dinaiki air, dan kita akan membuat pemantauan secara lebih terperinci di kawasan tersebut, kerana semalam saya hanya sempat melihat beberapa pemilik kediaman berada di dalam kawasan perumahan mereka. Hari ini kita akan cuba masuk sekali lagi, kerana ada beberapa kawasan tertentu di Alur Madi itu airnya agak tinggi yang menyukarkan kenderaan kita untuk memasuki kawasan tersebut. Tapi hari ini kita akan cuba melihat bagaimana perancangan untuk kita masuk ke kawasan tersebut. Tetapi juga Nabilah, sudah tentu kita akan bawakan perkembangan dari masa ke masa, kerana rakan setugas kita Wakil Kedah juga akan berada di beberapa daerah lain, semuanya di Astro AWANI dan astroawani.com. Nabilah.
Baik, Hasimi akan terus bawakan situasi terkini banjir di Kedah dalam buletin-buletin AWANI seterusnya. Jadi harapnya Hasimi dan juga juru kamera Rizal Rahim dapat jaga diri. Jadi terima kasih sekali lagi buat Hasimi. Baik, kita akan teruskan dengan perkembangan ringkas dagang.
Perdagangan Malaysia meningkat 18.6% pada Ogos 2024 kepada 252.65 bilion ringgit berbanding 213 bilion ringgit setahun sebelumnya. Kementerian Pelaburan, Perdagangan dan Industri MITI berkata, angka itu merupakan kadar terpantas dalam tempoh 22 bulan dengan ekspor mengekalkan momentum pertumbuhan bagi 5 bulan berturut-turut, naik 12.1% kepada 129.16 bilion ringgit. Maybank Investment Bank Maybank IB menjangkakan harga tiket kapal terbang akan meningkat susulan keputusan Malaysia Airlines mengurangkan kapasiti tempat duduk secara sementara. Firma pendidikan itu berkata, keseluruhannya kos operasi syarikat penerbangan kini lebih rendah berikutan pungkuhan nilai ringgit berbanding dolar Amerika Syarikat di samping harga bahan api jet yang lebih murah. Kemenangan kontrak baru Pekat Group Berhad bagi membina dan mentauliahkan loji solar fotovoltaik 29.99 megawatt ACD Perak melonjakkan jumlah buku pesanan kumpulan tertunggak kumpulan itu kepada 322 juta ringgit bersamaan 1.5 kali hasil tahun kewangan 2023. Apex Securities menjangkakan kira-kira 1/3 daripada nilai projek akan diiktiraf pada tahun kewangan 2024 dengan pengiktirafan tertinggi berlaku pada tahun kewangan 2025 apabila kerja mencapai kemuncaknya. Laporan penuh di saluran 501 dan astroawani.com serta theganus.com. Baik, banyak lagi perkembangan selepas ini, jadi jangan ke mana-mana. Kita akan bersama dengan Termina Kausji dalam perkembangan pembangunan sosioekonomi Sarawak selepas ini.
Apa signifikan dengan pengumuman ataupun berita yang keluar dari media China ini berkaitan dengan hasrat Malaysia untuk menyertai gabungan BRICS?
Kita mahu dapat lebih banyak
umpamanya pelaburan daripada negara China.
Kalau melihat kepada Akta Kanak-Kanak 2001, adakah kita terlalu lambat untuk melihat proses untuk meminda akta sedia ada?
Kita perlu ada penyelarasan. Kita tak mahu bekerja secara silo.
Korang tak perasan ke? Mama tu sebenarnya tengah sedih tau.
Dia mesti nak berkawan dengan fish ke?
Dia nak bawa dia pergi jumpa fish.
Nak buang tembiat ke apa ni? Cuba bagi tahu dekat saya, logik ke tak logik Heidi tadi datang bawa tunang dia?
Bukan semua benda yang kita nak kita akan dapat.
Saya rasa saya akan okey hidup seorang-seorang.
Dia masih ada perasaan ke dia kan?
Saya tak ada apa-apa pun dengan Josh. Liar!
Yuna!
Uncle Boss Mama di Astro Ria dan Astro Go.
Tada! Bukan sahaja kami jual bunga, kami juga menjual benda yang ada kena-mengena dengan bunga.
Ada budak baru cuba kacau bisnes kita.
Penstreaman ataupun muat turun kandungan haram seperti penggunaan kotak TV Android adalah aktiviti yang sangat berisiko dan boleh mendedahkan anda kepada malware, virus, ransom dan juga penipuan seperti scam dan juga judi atas talian. Elakkan daripada stream atau download haram. Ingat, layan ori, jangan curi.
Penyasaran subsidi diesel di Semenanjung tidak akan memberi kesan kepada harga barangan keperluan di Sabah, Sarawak dan Labuan.
660 individu berusia bawah 21 tahun di Sarawak telah diberikan kewarganegaraan.
Sarawak kini menjalinkan kerjasama dengan Bank Dunia dalam menjayakan perdagangan karbonnya.
Di sini, sejarah dan legenda tercipta. Segalanya dipertaruhkan demi sukan warisan. Cabaran baharu kini bermula, membawa langkah ke puncak dunia. Sepak takraw, satu dekad penuh gemilang secara langsung di Astro.
5 lelaki penghantar makanan didakwa di Mahkamah Magistrate Bangi atas tuduhan membunuh seorang pemandu kereta lelaki dalam satu kejadian.
4 sungai di sekitar kawasan perindustrian Pasir Gudang di Johor termasuk Sungai Kim Kim didapati tercemar dan berada pada tahap yang membimbangkan. Kerajaan sudah mulakan inisiatif untuk menggantikan kenderaan operasinya kepada kenderaan elektrik EV dalam skala kecil terlebih dahulu.
Hello and welcome to Niaga Spotlight with me, Tamina Kausji. Niaga Spotlight goes to the week in business and future affairs, market watch, industries, analysis and insights. We've got you covered right here on Niaga Spotlight. Now this week on future affairs, it's a Malaysia Day focus on Sarawak's socio-economic development. Now Sarawak achieved a commendable overall GDP of 72,411 ringgit per capita in just 2023. However, to further bolster this growth, it's essential to bridge the urban-rural divide to ensure inclusive development and growth. Economist Professor Datuk Dr. Madeline Burma joins us now live in the studios to discuss core socio-economic concerns as well as actionable approaches for addressing each of them. Prof, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Selamat Hari Malaysia, a little bit delayed, but
yes.
still in the mood, right? All right, fantastic. So, Prof, let's get started off by speaking about Sarawak's socio-economic development, but in a couple of separate different tranches. I would like to begin by us first looking at resource management. Now, we've of course known that traditionally Sarawak's economic benefits come mainly from natural resources, extractive industries such as timber and oil. Let's discuss what your perspective has been on the direction in which we're headed, and can this be balanced with environmental interests?
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting topic, and coming from on Malaysia Day. When our focus today is Malaysia Day. Now, I have studied, quite briefly about Sarawak's economic development. So you can see Sarawak's economic development is like you rightly mentioned, the two phases.
That's right.
The first part of it has always been the state has always focused on extractive industries. So when you talk about Sarawak, people are always talking about LNG, people are talking about petroleum, and of course earlier on it was on our extractive industries like LNG tadi lah kan. So now, especially under the current premier, we see a slight shift, or rather a big shift, not slight.
Exactly, because now we're talking about much bigger concepts such as the green economy, hydrogen economy,
right, digital economy and things
that's
like
right,
that. So
that's
it's not
right.
really a small shift. In fact, Sarawak has really shifted away from that first phase to this, I would consider the second phase. Yeah? But some people say that it's a third phase or fourth phase. But to me, that is a major transformation in the state's economy. So it is something that, I mean, you mentioned the amount of the GDP, the Sarawak
per
capita and things like that. That is really something that the state can achieve, I strongly believe. Given the shift in the economic, and when we see the economic transformation, Sarawak is capable of achieving that economic growth. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think another issue to bring up when it comes to resource management as well, the rights of indigenous communities. Now, you also, of course, are frequently in Sarawak, both for field trips as well as for executing projects. What are some of the main issues and challenges that you've noticed for the indigenous communities which are living quite near to extractive industries, such as even it could be timber, oil, etc.?
Now, this has been a long-standing issue in Sarawak, and I think the state government is fully aware of what is happening, and efforts have been made, to address some of this issue. Of course, the issue of rural-urban divide. I mean, and I always mention in Sarawak, it's not just rural and urban. We have cities, we have urban areas, we have rural areas, and we have interior. So that is even more difficult now. When it comes to the indigenous communities, in the past, there were a lot of criticism against state policies in terms of our development policies are seen to be non-sustainable, so it has affected the indigenous communities, their rights and things like that. But I think with the new economy, when you talk about the hydrogen economy, you talk about the green economy, these are taking into account these issues, So now I think the state is fully committed to ensure that the economic development is, it will benefit not only the people in the urban areas or the cities, but also evenly distributed and to be so that people in the state, nobody's left behind.
Exactly. So we will go into much deeper detail on that, but in a while, however, let's move on into looking at economic diversification.
Right.
So we have discussed the fact that Sarawak's economy has, of course, been traditionally pretty dependent, even up to 70% of it on extractive industries. So what strategies, in your opinion, should Sarawak be implementing to diversify its economy beyond resource extraction? And how can these strategies actually be tailored, looking at the fact that we do have a little bit of leeway time, right?
Right, okay. Sarawak is very fortunate in that sense, okay? Number one, because of its, well, I can consider it political stability. So we have not been
relatively
like our friends in Peninsular Malaysia. You have been like, whoa, I know, siapa lah I nak undi ni, and that kind of thing. In Sarawak, in that sense, political stability is one of the key factors. And number two, the policies are in place. So given all these things, so Sarawak has as you have mentioned just now, Sarawak is capable of they have enough or sufficient leeway to make adjustment, the kind of policies that. So as we have discussed a bit earlier just now, that it is shifting. The new trajectory is going into what we call, the weightless economy. The hydrogen economy, the blue economy, the green economy. So now, if we go to the state, people are talking about hydrogen like as if it's just anything. Now, of course, some of them think that it's a hydrogen bomb. When the premier first announced it, they say, "Oh, we are going too far ahead. We need to slow down." But then, this is really the new thing. This is really the the new economy. We call it the new economy. So both the blue and the green economy is really the economy. So now Sarawak is talking about exporting hydrogen.
That's right.
This is something really like, wow, I mean, I cannot imagine Sarawak doing that.
True.
We are so
now,
used to
let's bring
LNG.
it back into, again, support for perhaps pre-existing small and medium enterprises or the SMEs. Have you seen any proactive movement happening in this sector? Because they also form the backbone of the business community.
Now, okay, from my recent trip, which I just came back from Sarawak, I don't really see that yet. But maybe because of the nature of the industry. Because both the hydrogen and the green and the blue economy, as we were, is still at an R&D stage to a large part.
Fair enough. So the trickle down has not yet occurred.
It has yet to occur. But if you look at, there were efforts like I remember seeing some new small companies coming up. For example, in renewable energy, and also become in the upstream, in our, if you look at the economy, but it's not like the SMEs here, it's not like the manufacturing.
Fair enough.
So, but I think these are still at the nascent stage. It's a very early stage. Now that Petros is really the new, the big player now in Sarawak. So I think this is where the small companies are coming up. But I don't think it will come as big as what we see here in Peninsula.
Exactly, but it's more tailor-made and suited for Sarawak itself. Let's spend a bit of a moment looking at the tourism potential. Now, Sarawak actually welcomed about 4 million tourist arrivals, and this was back in 2019, which is a fairly healthy amount. Have you seen that sector at least recover since the pandemic movement control orders, etc., ended, or is it still struggling to come up to volume?
Okay, from my research that I did, like last year we did a small research on economic growth in Sarawak. One of the biggest contributor is actually tourism. So I think we are very much into it, but it's not just cultural tourism, because tourism, it can be ecotourism, and I'm sure you're quite aware of our festival, the music festival, that is always the
a huge attraction. That's right.
So I mean, it is big, but. And there's also the MICE, meetings and things like that. So that is also another big draw in terms of tourism income for the state.
That's right. So tourism is one sector. However, have you noticed much movement along the diversification of agriculture? I'm talking about sustainable agricultural practices as well as cultivation of high-value crops. How do we help to support that ecosystem so that it becomes not just sustainable but also value-making?
Now, I think that there is a bit of a, I think that's where Sarawak is a bit slow, because I think because of cultural, the tradition.
Traditional farming practices.
Yeah, farming is still practiced there, shifting cultivation and things like that. Although not on a large scale like in the past, but the communities are still practicing it. So we don't see big plantations being what do you call it? The communities are involved in it. But of course we do have, oil palm and things like that. But these are the typical companies that are doing it. But as far as the communities are concerned, they're still doing, the small scale one. And so I think when you talk about diversification in terms of the communities, not much have changed in a sense when I see what had been practiced in the past. But when it comes to plantation-wise, well, there are some plantations that are already in Sarawak. So, but I don't see many Sarawakians going into it also.
Right.
So,
and at the same time, though, is there a notable shift from dependence on palm oil revenue into more sustainable traditional farming practices?
Not really, actually. And then if you really see that, because I don't see that happening so much in Sarawak. Because many Sarawakians are still, if they are in the rural areas, many of them, I still see them go to the paddy fields and things like that. So if you talk to them, what about, working in oil palm plantation? Or that is not something that they are very happy with. Why should I be working with them? So if they want, they plant their own. But which is in small scale,
That's right.
But there are individuals who do plant oil palm and things like that. But looking at it from a perspective, I can't really say that it is really a big shift. But there are individuals. I do know of friends who have their own farms and things like that. But I wish they are bigger I mean, there are more of them, but not really.
Exactly, because however, as of recent years, about 70% of the revenue still comes from oil and gas, timber and palm sectors. Right. So from there, shifting into looking at, of course, the next step, which would be the education and workforce development opportunities. Your thoughts on the fact that basically around 9% of Sarawakian youth are having challenges with finding employment. This is, of course, significantly higher than the rest of Malaysia.
Right.
What are some of the efforts that are underway to help us address this?
Okay. Since this major transformation in our economy, so one of the biggest challenges is Nila, what do you call it, employment, and getting the right talent. Of course, our education system was designed in such a way to prepare us to work in manufacturing and to work in urban areas. I don't think that we were prepared to work in hydrogen economy or all these high-end sector,
STEM-related sectors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sarawak has taken the the right step. Like for example, they have their own universities. I'm not talking about state university, but the state-sponsored universities like Swinburne. I know. So these are universities which is under the state government. Okay, UNIMAS is of course federal. Okay,
that's right.
Now, what is happening and we even have a university college. The state even has its own university college, and now it even has its own to complete the what do you call it, the
degree programs.
To make from school. College and right up to the university, so it is complete now. So to ensure that Sarawak has the necessary or sufficient manpower, because the economy is booming very, very fast, but who's going to work in these places? So the issue of the 9%, I think in the next future, in the next few years, this will be well addressed in that sense,
Fair enough. Thank you for that, Prof. Madeline. We take a short break now, though. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Niaga Spotlight discussing Sarawak's socioeconomic development. Stay with us.
Kerajaan akan terus mempertahankan setiap inci kedaulatan negara dan tidak sesekali akan bertolak ansur terhadap sebarang tuntutan daripada pihak-pihak tertentu.
Negara perlu mengurangkan kebergantungan kepada pekerja asing berkemahiran rendah. Pertubuhan Kemanusiaan Antarabangsa Malaysia MHO menggesa Kementerian Kesihatan menjalankan siasatan berpemudawaan kewujudan sebuah klinik kosmetik yang dikendalikan doktor palsu di Monkiara.
Malaysia sebenarnya berada di kedudukan kedua terburuk di dunia berkaitan keseimbangan hidup dan kerja.
LRT3 sudah akan mula beroperasi suku ketiga 2025. Kerja-kerja fizikal dan penstrukturan sudah mencecah 95%. KPM sebenarnya sedang memperincikan cadangan untuk menyediakan allowance kos sara hidup tingkatan 6. Libat urus antara umat Islam dan agama lain penting supaya dapat mengelakkan ataupun membawa kepada Islamofobia.
Welcome back to Niaga Spotlight, still with me, Tamina Kausji. And today, of course, we are covering, in conjunction with Malaysia Day, Sarawak's socioeconomic development with Prof. Dr. Madeline Burma, live in the studios with us. Prof, now let's move into, of course, one of your pet topics, infrastructure development. Now, looking at the geographical challenges which Sarawak faces, what innovative approaches are you seeing and you hope to see taken to improve transportation, especially when it comes to the fact that this forms the nexus of whether people have access to economic opportunities?
Right. The issue of transportation, mobility and things like that. So we have vertical mobility, we have horizontal mobility. Now we're talking about horizontal mobility, how people move from one place to another. Okay, I must thank the government for our, Pen Borneo, of course. That is really the big issue, the big project in Sarawak and Sabah, right? But if you look at Sarawak, it's such a vast state, right? And I've always argued that actually we need more, not only just one big Pen Borneo.
One big lung going through.
We need feeder roads, and then we need Jalan Pesisir, they call it, and coastal roads, because many of our communities are located along coastal areas. So not only roads, but also bridges. If you look at our communication, it's normally by ferries. We still travel by ferry. So you have to wait hours and hours, for the ferry to arrive. So during festive season, that is really really, really challenging. But I think now a lot of we have new bridges. So I think the state government is investing a lot also in terms of building up all this, you call it basic infrastructure in the states. Not only roads, but also, like I said, bridges and water supply and things like that, wire, and I mean, all the basic necessities that is needed for rural development. But it's a big challenge.
At the same time, however, state government is also aiming to improve the 4G coverage of Sarawak, which is roughly at about 66% or so. This was early in the year. And the goal is actually to elevate it to almost 94% by the end of this year. This is part of course, an ambitious drive to grow the digital economy.
Right.
What kind of real-life dependencies and interaction have you seen on the digital connections as well as with the economic access that especially interior communities are having?
Right. I just came back from Sarawak, as I told you. So I was in the Pasar, and I see people, paying, just,
using QR codes.
Yeah. And I said, oh my goodness, I mean, I cannot imagine this happening. But of course, if you are in KL or you are in...
It's very normalized.
It is very normal. But I'm going to a Pasar, and then I said, wow, I mean, that is real life to me. But of course, I've not been to really the interior. But what this shows is that, of course, we have the Sarawak Pay. So, we have our own Sarawak Pay. So people are talking about Sarawak Pay and people say, oh, wow. I said, it is really getting into the community are really like, they know what is happening there. And then they talk about it. So I think that is very important. Although maybe e-commerce is still not as big as what is happening here in the urban areas or like in Kuching or whatever, because I'm talking about rural. But basically, it is there. So meaning to say the digital divide, I think we are slowly,
catching up, indeed.
In a way, the rural areas are covered in that sense, like you have rightly mentioned. So, and Sarawak is such a big state, so it's really not easy.
Absolutely. And at the same time, though, I'd just like to point out that Sarawak's Multimedia Authority, the SMA, they have been working on the SMA Rural Transformation, the SMART Plan, which is a project to build 600 telco towers throughout the state. So, moving along from looking at internet access into another very fundamental for well-being, which is, of course, healthcare. Now, what specific measures ought to be taken to address the disparities in healthcare access in rural versus more urbanized areas of Sarawak?
I see. Okay, thank you very much, because this is something that is very close to my heart, because every now and then I have to go and visit the hospital or the clinics.
While you're there working.
So in Kuching and the urban areas, it's not really a problem, because we cannot equate, when we say Sarawak, everything is like them. But the rural and the interior is still, is far lacking behind. So like, for example, manpower, human capital.
Human resources,
Human resources, the two of us were talking about doctors,
Correct.
I mean, I cannot imagine how many doctors want to be, located in all these Ulu areas in Sarawak,
I think it speaks to the wider issue, which is that perhaps when going into these contracts also overall in the country, doctors ought to be receiving a finite time limit so that they are able to plan their lives as well, right?
Yes, sure, definitely. So I really hope that, facilities and also the manpower and the facilities is really very, very important. So
one issue which actually struck me, Prof, was the fact that as of the latest records, Sarawak has only 33 medical social workers. Now, that actually would prove to be quite the challenge when looking at the location of not just the population, but also the fact that Sarawak has also an aging nation, aging state status. So when it comes to the aging status especially, what are some of the challenges with the elderly, those in interior areas are facing?
Now, this is really the double burden, you see. First, there is the rural-urban migration. So in the old days, when they were in the long houses, so they still have family members to take care of them.
Yes, so extended family members.
The support system. So you imagine a long house that is about 70 bilik, which is like, terraces. So in the old days, it's okay because the family live in the long house. Now with rural-urban migration, that's number one. And then the other one is, of course, the aging population. So this is really a deep concern, You know, I mean, if you ask me, so this is something that I think the state really have to think about. And I think our Minister YB Fatimah, she is, in my little interaction with her, she was really, concerned, you know, in the fact that we are not only talking about children here, we're talking about, as you have rightly mentioned, the aging population. So
now it's very
encouraging for it.
Yeah, it's also rather encouraging to note that Sarawak intends to carry out a comprehensive study to profile the state's elderly population by this year.
Yeah.
Another factoid is that by 2028, it's estimated around 15% of Sarawak's population will be aged 60 years and above.
Yeah. So, like I think, like in many states in Malaysia, we are not fully prepared for this aging population. We talk about it, we discuss, you know, the seminar and things like that. You look at our hospitals, you look at our, you know, other facilities, and then it's not age friendly. You know, if you walk on the streets, anytime you just bump into something, people like me, you know, I just walk and then I just,
accessibility,
you know,
as well,
so
right?
things like that. So I think, but the good thing about the state is that, since we are talking about Sarawak, you know, I've heard a lot about the work that they are doing, especially the ministry is looking into this issue because they want to be prepared for it, you know. I mean, in that sense, it's not just rhetoric, you see. So, because this is real issues, you know.
And it has to also be the kind of accessibility and essential services that trickles down universally, not only for those who can afford it.
Yes, that's true, the inclusiveness.
Fantastic.
Right.
Now let's move along into speaking about climate resilience when it comes to Sarawak, Prof. So how can Sarawak develop a comprehensive climate resilience strategy that is looking at socioeconomic vulnerabilities, particularly in light of reliance on both agriculture as well as tourism? And we're especially talking about the average Sarawakian involved in these industries.
Now, if you look at the state, they call it the post-COVID policy, right?
That's correct.
Okay, the post-COVID policy, one of the big agenda, there are three things that the focus on is, one is, of course, sustainability, economic growth, and inclusiveness. So when you talk about sustainability, the state has already kind of focused on, rather the idea that, you know, the state, they need to reduce the carbon footprint and things like that, you know, in the state. So that has already been a big agenda, and it has to be translated to the ground. So how is it being translated to the ground? So the green economy, the hydrogen economy is one way, shifting away from total reliance on the extractive industries. And the community now realize that, you know, they can no longer think that the forest is still something that they can just for them, for, you know, in the old days for us, the forest is, you know, our supermarket. You know, then after that, then it became a point of anger because of deforestation, and now people are thinking, oh, actually, we can make money from the forest if we really, you know, juggle it, you know, manage it well and things like that. And not only the forest, I'm talking also about the rivers and things like that. So this shift in thinking is also
instrumental.
Evidence, you know, it's very important. It's not only just about climate change. It's about, you know, sustainable development.
Exactly.
The green economy is very, very important.
In the middle of that.
State,
And I think that another interesting arena is how Sarawak is approaching flood management. Prof.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about that before we close out.
All right. You know, Sarawak, like many states currently now, we are having a big flood. Of course, we have our own committee, you know, at the local level, and to manage this flood. It is also managed at the three different levels, you know, at the highest level. And so this is where the administrative part. But the communities have long been trained how to manage their own flood. You know, community sustainability is
the
also
engagement
very
is there as well.
Yes, and when I met up with them, because when I was working with Suhakam, these are some of the issues that they always brought up. So I said, what is it that you all do? You know, they said even we as a community, we also have to work on our own also. Not only we cannot rely on the state, you know, to manage the flood, because the nature of flood mitigation nowadays is very different. You know, of course, the state is one level, But at the end of the day, the community has to undertake their own.
That's true, because when you have community engagement, that actually is what leads to climate resilience planning,
Yes.
and also perhaps emphasizing indigenous and traditional knowledge
Yes.
in ways in which to approach it, especially considering that you have a diverse population that's both elderly, you have the young, and then you've got a limited number of those who are able-bodied and in their early adulthood. Yeah.
So that is inclusiveness. So everyone, no one is left behind, both in terms of participating in the economic development and also benefiting from the economic development.
Yes, absolutely. So before we close out, Prof. Madeline, I'd like to ask you about what your wishes are on the occasion of this year's Malaysia Day for Sarawak and, of course, the rest of Malaysia.
Okay, for Sarawak, I've always believed in this very famous line that we Iban like to use. Segulai, sejalai. That means unity. So diversity is good, but I mean at the same time, when you talk about Malaysia Day, it is about segulai, sejalai. We walk together, we solve our problems together. So it's a very powerful word in the rural communities.
Fantastic.
We call it segulai, sejalai.
Fantastic. Segulai, sejalai.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time today, Prof. Dr.
Thank you,
Madeline.
thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Well, that's all the time that we have today on Niaga Spotlight. We look forward to seeing you once again next week. I'm Tamina Kantakaushi signing off, and of course, wishing all of viewers Selamat Hari Malaysia, Happy Malaysia Day once again. See you then.
Era baharu bola sepak Asia telah tiba. AFC Champions League Elite.
What a strike from CR7!
Di mana wira terunggul mengubah definisi permainan.
What a fascinating game!
Dan menjulang bola sepak Asia ke kemuncaknya. AFC Champions League Elite. Secara langsung di Astro.
Bila ada 4 orang anak, kenalah banyak bersabar. Astagfirullahaladzim! Semua benda yang saya buat ada je yang tak betul. Sibuk lagi. Kenapa ya Lala dah tak respect Mama Fish ni? Apa nak respect Fish? Tapi bila saya ambil wifi, semuanya berubah.
Kita susah senang sama tau.
Sekarang, happy je budak-budak. Wifi laju, nak stream apa pun boleh. Anak-anak happy, Mama Fish pun happy.
Gempur di AWANI 7.45.
Baik, Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. Anda sedang mengikuti edisi khas kami bawakan Temu Bual bersempena dengan pelancaran Festival KL Kreatif. Ini difahamkan ia julung kalinya diadakan dan akan berlangsung selama 3 bulan. Antara lain akan mencerminkan keunikan warisan seni budaya, arkitektur, seni bina, dan ini dihimpunkan dalam satu festival dalam kita merayakan pelbagai jenis acara yang diatur, seni persembahan, seni